Man, do I have a smoking deal for you. Who wouldn't want to pick this condo up for 25% below market price? And who wouldn't want to live in this beautiful mansion for 40% off? So the first place is Nicole Brown Simpson's condo, and the second place is the Heaven's Gate mansion, where they all committed suicide together. Recently, I had somebody ask me, if someone dies in the house I just bought, was I supposed to be told about that? The answer is, not necessarily. How's it going, everyone? This is your friend Jeff Grano with GPS Realty here with another shot of honest guidance. In real estate, these kinds of properties are called stigmatized properties. A stigmatized property is a property that may have a negative psychological impact on potential buyers for reasons that are completely unrelated to the property itself. This can include death of an occupant through natural causes, murder, suicide, or a general belief that the house is haunted. It's kind of a quirky thing that we humans are worried about when the condition of the property can be damaged even when there's no physical damage to the property. So there are a few different types of stigmas. There's stigma where murder took place, paranormal activity stigma, crime stigma, which is like that used to be where the heroin dealer lived. And there's what's called minimal stigma, where somebody passed away in the home of natural causes. There's also what's called a public intrigue stigma. So for example, the house that they shot Breaking Bad at, where Walter White used to live, the real owners of that house had so many problems with fans trying to creep their property that they put up a metal fence to keep them out. Any of these stigmas can have a negative effect on the house's price. The question is how to quantify that. So in real estate in the United States, there's actually no standardized procedure for handling a stigmatized property. Just a few states have requirements for disclosure of a death in the house to all potential buyers. In California, if that death occurred in the last 3 years, and in South Dakota and Alaska, if it happened in the past 1 year, buyers must be told about it. However, the laws in Massachusetts, Iowa, and Minnesota specifically mention that paranormal activity does not need to be mentioned to prospective buyers, which is the only time I've ever seen regulations on haunted houses be actually codified into law. So Virginia basically operates on what they call caveat emptor, which is Latin for buyer beware. That means it's the buyer's responsibility to uncover potential problems with the house, with some exceptions. Basically, that means in general, a buyer is purchasing a property as is, and the responsibility to find defects is theirs. The sellers cannot be held liable for doing nothing. The main exception to this rule is where the seller makes a misrepresentation or lies about the house. A seller has a duty to reply truthfully about important facts and in a manner not aimed at misleading the buyer. Even silence or evasive answers can constitute a misrepresentation if an average buyer would have been misled. So for example, let's say that there is an area of the house that always has flies. This is a weird situation, but it's a real one that I just came across. There's a spot in the house that always has flies. After trying to find where these flies are coming from, the owner finally gives up and decides to sell the house. Right before showings, he decides to walk through with a dustbuster and suck up all the flies, knowing full well that once the house sells, the flies are going to come back. That's fraud, and he's about to get sued. Caveat emptor also applies to Megan's Law, where it's the buyer's responsibility to get on their state website and find out where the sex offenders live. This principle generally protects sellers in the sense that if a buyer purchases a property and finds out a murder took place in the home afterwards, the seller is not liable for damages. So if you're like me and you like going down the Wikipedia rabbit hole every once in a while, go ahead and Google these addresses. 108 Ocean Avenue in New York. 8215 West Summerdale Avenue in Chicago. 924 North 25th Street in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I admit, I know a lot about real estate. I've been doing this for 10 years, but I had to do some research on this one. Doesn't the fact that the place is haunted count as a material fact? Apparently the answer is no, because it's a non-physical part of the property. Also, obligatory disclaimer here, I am not a lawyer. Probably somebody like the Legal Eagle guy could do a better job explaining some of the case law that surrounds this stuff. If you have ideas for videos that you'd like to see me do that I haven't done yet, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Smash that subscribe button and ring the little bell so that you can be notified every single time I produce a new video. Once again, this is Jeff Grano with GPS Realty, coming at you with another shot of honest guidance. Have a great day.